The opposition files no confidence motion. Works Minister explains maintenance of national roads. And Lae City Council yet to pay contractors.
This is National EMTV News with Hope Imaka.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for Tuesday's news. The opposition has successfully filed the vote of no confidence motion against Prime Minister Peter O'Neill this morning. This will be the fourth attempt by the opposition to remove O'Neill from the Prime Minister's office. The motion is expected to go before Parliament this week. Quinton Alomp reports.
This will be the fourth time the opposition will move the vote of no confidence against Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. The first and second attempts were made during the October and November sitting last year, but were not successful. Early this year, the opposition pushed for the third time, still to no positive outcome. And this morning, before Parliament resumed for its second week of the June session, Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil, accompanied by Lae MP Luzaya Kauza, presented the vote of no confidence motion to the Parliament Speaker Teo Jurenok for the fourth time.
At 10:25 a.m., the acting Speaker, in presence of the Speaker, received the vote of no confidence, notice of the vote of no confidence from the opposition. And it's official that it's in the hands of the Speaker's office. So we will look for it for the deliberation, and we will look for it for the entertainment of the vote of no confidence.
The opposition claims 14 MPs have signed the motion, including Sam Michael Somare and Ken Feweda from the government bench.
Tomorrow, probably at 12 midday, the Private Business Committee of the Parliament is going to deliberate on the notice, and if they are satisfied that it is in order, it will then find itself into the clerk's office. The clerk will then hopefully on Thursday morning give notice of it on the floor of Parliament, and then we have a break for about a week, and then the motion will then be debated.
The Rabaul MP says the government has the numbers and this fourth attempt is the only opportunity they have to replace the Prime Minister.
The government has got the numbers. On the floor of Parliament, this is the only way. Through a notice, through a vote of no confidence, that is the only way where Prime Minister can be changed on the floor of Parliament. So allow the process. This is a democratic aspect of governance in this country.
As mandated leaders from our respective 89 districts and the 111 of us in Parliament, now more than ever before gives us the opportunity to be able to stand up for what is right.
The motion is expected to be tabled in Parliament this week. Quinten Alom, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea in 2017 needs an honest government. Deputy Opposition Leader and Member for Bulolo, Sam Basil, made the remarks in Parliament today during questions without notice. He said an honest government can only be elected in an honest election. When asking the Prime Minister regarding preparations of the upcoming national election, Mr. Basil said observers of the 2012 elections noted problems with electoral rolls and countless election disputes. He said 3 months before issue of writs is not enough time to update the electoral rolls.
Mr. Speaker, my questions are, why did the government decide not to fund the Electoral Commission so the Commission could update and cleanse the electoral rolls? Secondly, Mr. Deputy Speaker, why did the government decide there should be no debate in Parliament on the 2016 budget, which also includes funding to the very important office, the Electoral Commissions? And the third one, Mr. Deputy Speaker, what are the consequences for an honest general election if electoral rolls are not updated properly? Also, Mr. Deputy Speaker, what kind of candidates are likely to benefit if electoral rolls are not cleansed and updated? And finally, is there a national fiscal crisis and the government cannot afford honest general election by adequately funding the Electoral Commissioner.
The Prime Minister, in his response, said government has already cleared some funding for the Electoral Commissioner through the Central Agency's Coordinating Committee. He said the CACC will be releasing some funds in the next few weeks to update the common roll throughout the country.
Mr. Speaker, for a population of 8 million people, to spend almost $500 million kina on elections is unreasonable and not necessary. Mr. Speaker, we need to do more. We need to do a better job in managing our costs, costs that can be able to deliver a fair and free election.
Mr. O'Neill assured Parliament and the people of PNG that, like in 2012, despite the short preparation time, the elections were conducted around the country without major glitches. He said the 2017 elections will be held on time. According to the tentative election program, issue of writs and nominations open on April 20, 2017. Return of writs will be on or before 24th July 2017. Delhi Waigeno, National EMTV News.
The progress of a proposed road linking remote Oksapmin and Western Province was raised in Parliament again today by West Sepik Governor Amkat Mai. Governor Mai asked the Prime Minister to give an update on this road link following the fatal plane crash that claimed the lives of 11 people from Oksapmin and an Australian pilot in April. The completion of the road is dependent on funding that will come from the tax credit scheme arrangement between the government and OTML.
OTML's argument with the current tax credit scheme arrangement of 0.75% is that it is not enough to cater for additional projects such as this proposed new road. They have requested that the tax bracket be increased, and this request was again put to the Prime Minister in Parliament today.
We've discussed this issue, and the question is, could the Cabinet or this government approve and increase the Octedi tax credit scheme, which is at 0.75% to about 1.5% or 1.25%, so that Octedi, under its tax credit scheme, can make funding available to complete that project that was surveyed at that time.
The Prime Minister said some work has begun on the road with the contract awarded to Curtin Brothers. However, he said the request to increase the tax bracket is something the government is considering, but he could not confirm that the increase will happen.
Mr. Speaker, our Treasury people and, of course, our internal revenue people are going through that request to ensure that we do not unnecessarily forego. This is our government money that supports the budget. So we don't necessarily want to allow these funds to be managed by private companies on their own behalf, and then of course bypass all the procurement and all the other processes that public finance is required to be done.
He instead suggested other means to complete the roadworks.
So, Mr. Speaker, but that does not necessarily mean that we cannot continue the project. With the 0.75 tax credit arrangement, it can be done every year, so that you divide the project into stages, and then you can be able to exercise that delivery of that funding to fund that project, especially that major road.
The Prime Minister was present during the groundbreaking ceremony of this proposed road in 2014. 2 years later, relatives of the Kiunga plane crash victims, who were also part of the groundbreaking celebrations, questioned the progress of the road.
Suppose two black is road blow blanco stop blow one blow up na. This like stem come up. Emi blanco hamamas lik to. Taso two blanco kisim roadigo. Mi bla sing nothing. Hamamas nothing legislative man.
Okay, you come start him. You said the mogadal machine. You said the mogadal something na. Start blow you come na. Finish blow you where. Now mi black sim back now. Okay, time mi black sim balus. Now 11 lomlan die and people about to mass.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The Ministry of Works is working on establishing a dedicated road maintenance fund to supplement budget appropriation for maintaining all national roads. Works Minister Francis Awesa said there is no quick fix to the maintenance problems facing our roads. The Road Maintenance Fund will make up for the shortfalls in the budget.
The Works Minister was responding to questions by the member for Kaboom, Bob Dadai, who stressed that roads are vital for the country's socio-economic development. Mr. Dadai said it seemed that a lot of funds were being concentrated on the national roads, while many other vital roads were being neglected.
Can the Minister inform the Parliament and people of Papua New Guinea about what his department is doing to classify the country's roads properly and fairly finance the road maintenance programs?
Acting Speaker,
Minister Awesa said although the government has increased funding for road maintenance and allocated more than 3 billion kina over the last 3 years, the amount of maintenance that needs to be done continues to outweigh funding capacity. He said a major road sector reform is necessary.
The volume of overdue maintenance works will soon become unmanageable, creating emergencies everywhere if nothing sustainable is done.
Minister Awesa said road-related funds from different sources such as the fuel levy, tax credit scheme funding and MVIL, to name a few, can be mobilized and protected under a dedicated fund.
Mr. Speaker, under the reforms, my ministry is working on establishing a dedicated road maintenance fund to supplement the budget appropriation to make up for the shortfalls.
Minister Awesa said the Department of Works cannot continue to manage and maintain the 30,000 kilometre of national roads from Waigani. He said it is important that provincial governments and district authorities take ownership and full responsibility of provincial and district roads, with the Department of Works to regulate standards only. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
In the news ahead, Lae's financial woes continue and one former employee of Balop Teachers College still waiting for retirement benefits since 2014. Welcome back. The Lae City Council says it has not been able to pay its contractors since January, when government grants stopped flowing into the council. City Manager Roy Carmen said today that they are relying on internal revenue, which is insufficient to run the City Council. Carmen's statement comes a day after Morebay Governor Kelly Naru said the provincial government was running on what he called maintenance budget.
According to the city manager, the Lae City Council is starting to feel the pinch with government grants being delayed. The council gets up to 4 million kina in 2 separate lots of funding. Since January, the Lae City Council has not received that money.
Since January, we haven't received any national government grants.
The delay in funding means the Lae City Council will not have the money to pay contractors who collect the city's garbage and do minor repairs on the roads. The city manager says they're also having difficulty generating enough revenue to pay for staff employed directly by the council.
We have 2 sorts of employees in the council. One is paid by the provincial government and one is paid by the council itself through its internal revenue. So the ones that are paid by the provincial government, they're okay because they get the funding from the national government. But our internal workman don't council and people struggle to finding money to make sure we pay them.
If the situation worsens, the council will have to lay off its workers.
Roy Cummins' statements comes a day after the governor raised similar concerns yesterday. According to the provincial administration, all of the national government's budgetary obligations still have not been met since January. The provincial government is surviving on internal revenue, and if that internal revenue dries up, essential services will also be affected. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
The managing director of a real estate company in Lae says the company had to cut its prices due to a slowdown in the employment of foreign executives. Mike Quinn from The Professionals says companies are cutting costs and it's affecting their business as well. The real estate market is giving indications about the state of the economy. Bethany Harmon takes a look into the market.
In the last 6 months, some Lae companies have been doing it tough with the current economic downturn, and they are slowly letting some of their executives go without replacing them. Real estate company Professionals is seeing a decline in the number of its top clients, forcing a downward shift in prices.
While companies are feeling pressure and they're getting rid of staff at the top end, they've got rid of lots in the top end. The middle section, a little bit of redundancy there. The bottom section still seems to be holding okay. So,
though there are other factors involved, what's seen in the property market prices can give an indication that Lae companies are not recruiting. Lae is an industrial center that hosts some of the country's leading manufacturing companies that employ some of Lae's residents.
leave their company. So they haven't retrenched anyone, but their natural attrition is meaning that their numbers of staff are dropping off.
An indication that companies were struggling came on the 1st of this month, when KK Kingston Chief Executive Officer Michael Kingston said the company might have to lay off workers if pressures of the foreign currency continue for another month.
The national government, together with the central bank, say they are managing the economy well and that they are doing everything to solve the foreign currency backlog and the depletion in the foreign reserves. But the indication coming from the Lae business community is they are struggling to keep their foreign employees and that they are looking for the funds, the foreign currency that is, to pay for goods and services coming from overseas suppliers.
The option was always available for commercial banks to arrange their own funding, to fund their customers, provide foreign currency to the customers. They have done it. Even for some importers, big importers, they've gone to some, loans from overseas to fund some of the importers. So.
The central bank has encouraged manufacturers to look for cheaper products in other suppliers, amongst a series of alternatives. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
A fight broke out at the East Sepik Provincial Education Office recently following the non-payment of salaries for all teachers at the Kaindi Demonstration Primary School. Frustrations have been building up during the 3 fortnights going to the 4th, while the 20 teachers are still struggling to look for money to support their families. The lack of constructive responses from the provincial education authorities only added to the frustrations. Rachel Shise reports.
All get the teachers, deputy, all get the question him now, why Mipla go off? Answer, the office gave us was technical error.
The strain of this situation on the teachers, causing them to not attend to students in classes, has resulted in frustrations building up, causing the head teacher and her deputy to approach the provincial authorities.
Because Mipla teachers is suffer, this was done out of provocation, only provoking Mipla lo temporary roads, copy belong golong payroll, na blue copy, so deputy belong Mipla I looking how Mipla all get is suffer too, and me go come up him number 2 heavy, and me go fight him appointment officer, na primary advisor.
The school's funds were in turn used to support the teachers, and while they were repaying their debts to the school, they go off pay again.
School giving Mipla 6,000 kina. School supporting Mipla. Pay 8 teachers Mipla work lo back him. Pay 9 Mipla back him yet. Pay 10 Mipla go off Ken and 11th of May. Behind him this line last fortnight 25th of May. Belong next fortnight 8th of June Mipla check finish. We are sure that we will go off pay. Again, I'm number 4 time now.
The fact that all 20 teachers are off pay and continue to go off stirs an argument that what's been happening is intentional.
Me believe, me as the head teacher of the school, me believe also there was collaboration from the Catholic Education Secretary, one-time appointment officer, one-time primary advisor, now affect him. School Blomipla had.
Despite the situation, the teachers are still teaching, hence the school is still open to the 500 students. Rachel Shise, National EMTV News, Wewak.
Now to a story about a 74-year-old carpenter in Lae City. Levi Kendip began working at Balob Teachers College in 1982. He retired in 2014, but the veteran carpenter is still waiting for Balob Teachers College to pay his retirement benefits. His family is now calling on the college to pay what they owe for his 30 years of service.
Levi Kendip was responsible in the maintenance of buildings, tables and bunk beds for student dormitories. When Kendip left Balob in 2014, he was only recognized by the institution with a farewell gathering and a payment of 5,000 kina, which he said was not to his expectation.
Mi pla one sabe establish this la. Me carpenter, na one pla plumber, na one pla on power supply mess.
Kendip says he knows he's been contributing to his entitlements because 20% of his wage was often deducted by the college accounts department and paid to a retirement fund.
Mi pla ino sabe lo this la. Machini grau sim lo one me pla ino sabe.
The youngest son of the carpenter, Clip Kendip, says he grew up at the college while his father was working as a carpenter. He says his father has done so much for the college and deserves to be treated equally as the other staff of the college when they retire.
Gimol service big plus service straight on the service man so I'm a yes and been stop on them all calm so like must balo must at least straight man be mo kind of.
The Balob Teachers College, meanwhile, says Kendip worked for the college under a memorandum of understanding and did not have a formal employment agreement. The documents relating to the agreement of employment have not been produced by either party. But what we do know is that Levi Kendip served Balob for 34 years as a carpenter and received 5,000 kina for long service. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
And now looking at our finance news. The kina opened unchanged at $0.3160 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3085, $0.4158 Australian dollars, $0.2687 euro and 32.94 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, copra closed lower, gold, coffee and cocoa closed the day higher. Palm oil closed higher, crude oil closed lower, while copper closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 113.27 points higher, the ASX closed at 5.59 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 4.89 points higher. One suspect arrested in the murder of a female student in Lae. Acting UPNG Chancellor says students have returned to class. Those stories and more when we return. Welcome back. Reports of lawyer Felix Kange escaping from police custody are not true. NCD and Central Police Commander Sylvester Kalaut confirmed that Kange is still at the Waigani police cell after the National Court rejected his bail application yesterday. However, Kalaut explained that on Sunday, the 5th of May, Kange left the police cells in the morning and returned in the evening. Police are currently investigating this incident. ACP Kalaut said the police are waiting for a remand warrant for the court to transfer him to Bomana prison as a remandee while attending to his court case. Kange from Southern Highlands Province was arrested and charged for manslaughter in Port Moresby after he allegedly shot his wife and in their family home last month. Police have arrested the boyfriend of the grade 9 student Henrietta Jimmy, whose body was found in the Markham River after she went missing for 2 days. Provincial Police Commander Chief Superintendent Augustine Wampe says the boyfriend, identified as Lucas Martin, claimed they were floating on a tube downriver when the current pulled her underwater. Martin said he managed to swim to the side of the riverbank but was not able to save her.
Chief Superintendent Wampel says the suspect's statement was contrary to evidence found. Henrietta had facial injuries, a deep cut on the right side of her forehead as well as other injuries to her body. Police are awaiting a doctor's report to confirm if she actually drowned. It is believed she was kidnapped by her attacker as she was waiting for the PMV bus along the Lae Bulolo highway. According to her father, she was dragged down to the river bank by her attacker.
Very long way from.
Henrietta Jamie, 21, is a grade 9 student at the community college in Lae. She is from a mixed parentage of Manus, East Sepik and Morobe. Her body was found at the Makam River on May 26th after she was missing for 2 days. Last Friday, Henrietta's former schoolmates at the community college paid their last respects. At the Family Support Center in Lae, 15 cases are reported every day. Most of them involve young women and children. Most of those crimes committed are by family members or people who know the victims. 2 weeks ago, the National Court in Lae sentenced a man to 17 years in prison for sexually abusing his 7-year-old niece. The National Court also sentenced a man and a woman to 23 and 10 years respectively for sexually abusing their 13-year-old adopted daughter. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Lae.
The acting chancellor of UPNG, Dr. Nicholas Mann, said today that students from the School of Medicine and Health Sciences have begun returning to class. In a telephone interview, Dr. Mann said the UPNG administration has received a letter stating that students are willing to return to class.
The form was given to each registered student to make his or her stand clear on whether or not they will continue class or be excluded from the program of study. Dr. Mann has said the form is a legal form handed to students in time of uncertainty.
Be continuing their education, then there is a reaffirmation form which they need to sign. It's a normal thing that happens in any situation where there is uncertainty about students continuing their education or not. So it's not an abnormal thing.
Meanwhile, Medical Faculty SRC representative told media yesterday the form was illegal and students are advised not to sign.
We also want to know the legality of that form as well. It has to be well explained. We know that that form is to stop any boycott or student unrest to safeguard the academic year. But we also want them to come and explain to us well regarding the legal basis of that form.
Dr. Mann said students refusing to sign the form and to return to class will only cause hindrance to their education.
So classes resumed yesterday. Those who went back to class, it's a bonus for them, meaning they have done the right thing, so they will achieve what they are there for at the university. Those who don't go to class, they will only injure their own future, that's all. The university will not force anybody to go to class, but we will not allow students to just stay on campus, not to attend class and cause problems. That's not the purpose of the university.
He also said that they were in possession of a letter from the Medical Faculty Students President stating they were willing to return to class.
So there's a letter written to us, to the council, to resume, lift the suspension, and they were willing to go back to class. So suspension has been lifted.
The UPNG Council later this week will release the exact number of students who have already signed the reaffirmation form. Adelaide Xerox, Kari, National, EMTV News.
The PNG Fire Service Department is about to introduce the Australasian Inter-Service Incident Management System. This is a management system which allows multiple agencies for a standard approach in counteracting fire emergencies and disasters. Chief Fire Officer Isaac Silas says this approach is more convenient when approaching fire hazards and minimizing its effects.
Over the past 3 years, the PNG Fire Service Department has been bombarded with criticism over its lack of capacity in approaching fire emergencies. Fires in major cities like Port Moresby and Lae have indicated the type of policies and framework used by the government department. The one-day workshop held today is the beginning of a new incident management system the fire service will use.
We lack the capacity here in country, particularly in the fire service, on how to systematically manage incident. So we have brought them in.
The chief fire officer says the new approach will firstly be introduced in 3 phases.
Phase 2 will involve training, and that would take place at the regional level. And then there'll be phase 3, which would be an exercise that would culminate all our trainings, hopefully.
The AIMS system does not only cater for fire-related disasters, but other natural disasters and emergency events in sports and global meetings. The Fire Service Department is hopeful the AIMS program will work effectively and efficiently in the country.
If it's going to be involving incidents that are not fire-related, and we are going to be part of that. So it is to do with the whole of government approach, all agency, all incident approach to managing disasters.
Apart from the workshop, the Chief Fire Officer told EMTV despite the current financial challenges, the department has sought other ways to cater for its operations. The workshop was facilitated by the Queensland Fire and Rescue Service. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
PNG continues to take a global lead in the fight to curb the effects of climate change. Following its proposal of the REDD+ concept in international negotiations, the government has made steady progress into phase 2 of its implementation, that is, determining the National Forest Reference emission level. In that regard, the Climate Change and Development Authority today launched its initial PNG Terra Forest and Land Use Assessment.
The Terra PNG Forest and Land Use Assessment plays a huge role in Phase 2 of the REDD+ program. Food and Agriculture Organization representative Paul Hasagama did a thorough presentation of the assessment during the workshop.
We are using the 2014 Landscape 8 data for whole of PNG, and we map out 8 different land use and land cover class. So deforestation is one of those 8 different classes, as well as forest.
He said it determines just how much of our forest is being converted into commercial, agricultural and settlement purposes or otherwise reforested.
After the second mapping project, we will actually do the land use change analysis. So from that analysis, we can know exactly whether the forest is changing the forest is increasing or is decreasing.
This, he said, will in turn provide a baseline for the CCDA to estimate PNG's forest reference level, which represents the expected greenhouse gas emission trend from the forestry sector in particular. Results of the REDD+ activities are measured against the forest reference level, part of the REDD+'s second phase. Since the National Forest Monitoring System, the third phase, and the Greenhouse Gas Inventory are very closely related, one combined consultation workshop was held to address them both. The workshop is hosted by the CCDA and the PNG Forest Authority in collaboration with the European Union and the Food and Agriculture Organization, among other partners, and was officially opened by their respective representatives today. Discussions will continue tomorrow. Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
An international evangelist from Geneva arrived this morning in Port Moresby for a 5-day conference to mark the 20 years anniversary for Oneness Pentecostal Church. The anniversary, to be held in Chimbu Province, will see Reverend Dr. Michael Barry preaching and the events of the last days.
I'll be sharing things on church history, on eschatology, and also some of the stories over the long years of working in Geneva and how we got there and the way the Lord leads. And unexpectedly, years ago, I thought I was going to be a missionary to the Solomon Islands. We bought a boat and we never got there. And instead, we ended up in Geneva with the United Nations people. My wife worked at the United Nations. It's very highly sophisticated people, and the Lord helped us build a church there and many nations over the years. So it's been very interesting, and I'll be sharing those stories too with the folks.
Trukai Sports is next. I'll be back with the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. To football, and PNG's absence from the OFC Nations Cup for close to a decade has seen a drastic turnaround after making it to the semi-finals following their historic win against Samoa on Sunday. PNG will face Solomon Islands, a nation with more exposure in Oceania football. The last time both teams met was in Honiara in March for 2 friendly matches. They both won a game each, which makes tomorrow night's match a must-see event. Jeremy Moggy reports.
PNG captain David Mutta is proud of the achievement of the national team and has said that his side is settled and confident leading into this match. His counterpart and one-time Hekari teammate Henry Fa'arado expressed satisfaction at having to face Papua New Guinea, but said the job would only be complete after 19 minutes of football.
So I think for me, I think I'm expecting a bit of a battle for the semi-finals. So.
For PNG national coach Flemin Siritzlev, he expressed joy at having so far been able to deliver positive results and reaching the semi-finals, but did compare the difference between the previous friendlies played in March and being on the cusp of glory on the regional stage.
I think for me it means that I know Solomon Islands a bit better than the other teams competing in this championship here. But I'm also very well aware that one thing is to face each other in 2 friendly matches, and then suddenly you are now running for the final in the Nations Cup instead. It'll be a different match.
Moses Toata, the national coach for the Solomon Islands, also dismissed the previous matches between both national sides.
Yes, I'm very, very happy we can make it into the semi-finals, and we're very happy and looking forward to playing with our neighbors, PNG.
Papua New Guinea will face the Solomon Islands, who has far more experience in the OFC Nations Cup, having reached the semi-final stage on 3 separate occasions, including coming second after reaching the final in 2004. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
With the Rio Olympics just a few days away, PNG swimming sensation Ryan Pinney is gearing up to take part in the event. Pinney says his preparations leading up to the Olympics has been good so far and is looking forward to representing the country once again.
Ryan says he will be attending the Oceania Swimming Championships in Fiji later this month as a lead-up tournament to the Olympics.
It's very tough, but yeah, I feel positive. We've got Oceania Championships in a little over 2 weeks over in Fiji, so that'll be a good indication for where things are at. And then after that, it's game time for Rio.
He says preparations are on par, even though it has been difficult over the past few months.
The Olympic Games, things are coming along really well. The level of competition is extremely tough. So I'll be going there and giving it all my best in that heat swim that I get. If I can make the semi-final, that'd be pretty fantastic. And I feel positive that I can get there. It's just going to determine how things go on the day. So.
He says after the Pacific Games, many people have shown interest in the code. After the Olympics, Pinney plans to come back to train and develop young swimmers.
The privilege this morning talking to some of the new swimmers, they wanted to know how they could improve their strokes. So I took a bit of time out and just gave them a few pointers. So and that's so helpful for me that I can give back. So once I'm done competing at Olympics, then I'll be back home and be able to give a lot more back into the sport and hopefully bring up the next generation of swimmers.
This will be his 4th Olympic appearance and will compete in the 100-meter backstroke, butterfly and freestyle. The Olympics is set to kick off on the 5th of August and ends on the 12th.
Catching up, but oh no! Penny started to kick again and he'll get it! Penny's got it, it's a record!
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The Unitec Gojuru Karate Club in Lae is expecting to contribute up to 16 competitors to the upcoming PNG Games selection trials to be held in Lae this weekend. Head of the Unitec Dojo, Sensei Luke Goa, says the competitions will take part in various kata and kumite events. On Sunday, Morobe began intensive preparations for the PNG Games in a seminar that brought together 9 dojos from Lae City and surrounding areas.
The Gojuru Karate Club in Unitec has been in existence for a fair number of years, but not many people know about it. Under the guidance of Sensei Luke Goa, one of the very few Gojuru practitioners in Papua New Guinea, Unitec Goju has actively participated in various competitions. In 2014, the club contributed competitors to the Morobe team that participated in the PNG Games in Lae. This year, they hope to do the same, starting with the selection trials this weekend.
Like 16 pla, sembla by golong kata, sembla by golong ipong kumate, na ola implega sembla liglig boys and girls too by take part long kumate.
From the selection trials, the club hopes to have itself adequately represented in the Morobe team going to Kimbe in November.
PNG Games, I think me bla line lo Unitec, also matin bla me lo Gojuru Karate. I think bali working good. Okay, me play still down lig long all sumatin bla me play because at the moment some bla all no work long come due to like crisis long Unitec.
Scott Wide, National EMTV Sports, Lae.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. General Electrics and National Rugby League are partnering to implement the league's well-being program across PNG schools. The program aims to create awareness among students on the importance of physical activity, nutrition and mental wellness. Well-being pilot project will be carried out at the Waigani Primary School and will eventually expand to other provinces. Present for the launching were General Electrics and National Rugby League officials.
Recognizing PNG's passion in rugby, digital company General Electrics has partnered with NRL to carry out the Wellbeing program. Through GE's healthcare partnerships in the country, GE saw the importance of supporting such program.
And the fact that rugby league really does unite the nation. And we saw an opportunity to use that passion for rugby league to bring an education program to students, to help educate kids around health and well-being, to get the kids and the students when they were young and they were starting out in their lives and teach them healthy habits that they will carry with them for the rest of their lives as a way of promoting and increasing health and well-being in the Papua New Guinea community.
NRL PNG General Manager Mark Moms says this is in contribution to Vision 2050 since well-being is also one of its key pillars and it's also part of the National Health Plan.
We want to contribute to the development of the Papua New Guineans. So the National Health Plan states that health is everybody's business. Also one of the key result areas is increasing individuals and communities' involvement in their own health. So the wellbeing program very much is trying to empower children and students and Papua New Guinean students to.
Mom added this will complement the League Belong Life program that is aimed at strengthening and delivering quality sport for development activities. Almost 20,000 primary schools will benefit from this project as it grows, and General Electrics is looking forward to work with NRL and branch out after the pilot project at Waigani Primary School. Dinero Shriko, National EMTV Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, cloudy with a shower or two likely for Port Moresby. Fine for Daru and Kerma, and cloudy for Alatau and Popondetta. In the Momase region, showers for Lae, thundery showers for Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands, mostly fine for Lorengau, Kokopo and Rabaul, a shower or two for Kavieng and Kimbe, and fine for Buka. And in the Highlands region, cloudy with a shower or two for all centres. Now recapping our main stories for tonight. The opposition files no confidence motion. Works Minister explains maintenance of national roads, and Lae City Council yet to pay contractors. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Hope Imaka. Pleasant viewing. Good night.